the views and opinions of WBGR Network. Any questions or concerns about what is said should be directed to the show host, whose information will be provided upon request.
Good morning, beautiful people. I am Tisha Hillman, and this is another episode of Sis We Need to Talk. Thank you so much. I know that, as Jay says, you can be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, and I appreciate that. So this is a show that I started about 6 months ago. Oh, now I guess it's been about 8 months ago now, because of some things that I was seeing from my sisters out in the community. And I realize that sisters, we need to talk. I realize that there are conversations that we are not having with each other, and we're not bouncing the ideas off of each other. And so we're kind of getting lost. And we're simultaneously creating what we don't want because we're not bouncing these ideas, off of someone with a trusted opinion. And so I hope that these shows can be a bridge. I hope they can be a bridge towards healthy and productive conversation. I hope that it will spark a movement of people who are devoted to healing where there is a disconnect. And in our community, as Black people in particular, there is a serious disconnect in terms of communication. We don't know how to talk to each other anymore. We don't know how to express our love or our needs or our wants. We don't know how to express these things to one another, and it's causing confusion, because that's what happens when you're not speaking the same language, is you can't understand the other person, because you can't relate to them. All right, usually people that are related speak the same language. And so if we're speaking a different language, what are the effects? And so that brings me to a video that I saw, I think it was on Friday or something like that. And it was really, really troubling. So in the video, it was, looks like a couple on a date, or, in the car together, a Black couple in the car together. And the woman she's hitting the guy. Doesn't seem like he hit her, because he was actually recording it. And so it didn't seem like it was, provoked or anything like that. But she just starts wailing on this dude. And he's like, no, get out of my car, get out of my car, get out of my car. And she won't leave. And next thing you know, she gets back in the car and is like wailing on the guy again. But she's also saying, you better not hit me. Don't hit me. Don't hit me. And not in like, oh my God, don't hit me, I'm in fear. But in a, you cannot hit me back, because if you do, there will be repercussions. And it's one of these things, and I laugh. It's not laughter, it's sometimes I'm amazed at the things that we do and what we're communicating. And so I look at that, and what it says to me is, what is going on with this sister? If she believes that she needs to discipline this man, presumptively her man, what is it that she feels like? Why does she feel like she needs to discipline him? Because think about it, you discipline children. The Bible says, spare the rod, spoil the child, right? So if you feel the need to discipline your man the way that you would a child, why? And if that is the case, then that tells me also that she views her man like a child. And so, because you wouldn't, and the truth be told, somebody who exemplified and you looked at them with respect, you would not do that. Because think about it. she's probably not going to be the woman that's going to wail on a police officer, because she respects his uniform. She respects how he presents himself. But when it comes to our own men, we don't respect our own men so much that we feel like we need to discipline them. And I know I just went down a rabbit hole, but I hope you guys are following me here, because it's a pattern that I'm seeing. And one of the things also that I've seen is, and I've talked about this on the show repeatedly, is that, these same women, us, we will create these circumstances to make him have to behave a certain way. And then when he does what you're asking him to do, now you want to call law enforcement. And so what I would say, sisters, is back that up a step. If you're in a situation where you feel like you need to physically attack someone, and that's the energy that you're putting out, then you should ask yourself, why are you putting out this energy? Because it's not him, because you're attacking as if you were provoked, and you're not. And so if there's no provocation, why are you attacking? Why are you, what's making you lash out at your brothers? What's making you give them lashes? You know what I mean? We're whipping them, right? And I look at it like, if we were in a situation, if today was 1840, and I were in, if I were in another body, based on my behavior today, who would I be? And if I'm looking at that, and I'm looking at a story, and I'm saying, I don't want to identify with the people who are beating and lashing out and lynching and castrating my men. If I don't want to be that person, and sorry, alarm. If I don't want to be that person in the story, why am I being that person today? Because in effect, that is what we're doing. Because if we carried out that story to its conclusion, because we don't know what happened after the recording stopped. But say, for instance, after that, she calls the police. What's going to happen is, because society has said, we believe that it's healthy for societal progress to believe all women. That means to the exclusion of men. So anytime a woman comes and says a man did something, I want society to automatically believe her. That's what we're saying if we follow things down to its logical conclusion. And if that is the case, based on what I just said, that woman would feel absolutely empowered and entitled to then go to law enforcement and call law enforcement, like Barbecue Becky and all these people that we talk about. But she would then feel empowered to go to law enforcement and ask these same law enforcement officers, who she's saying is harming these men, ask them to punish them for something that has not even been perpetuated. And so I ask myself, if that's where we are as Black women in this society, what future could we possibly have? And so I don't know who that young lady was in the video, but that video is what sparked this conversation today, because I want to talk about going back to our pain as Black women and why we will sometimes lash out and things like that. For me, the question is simple. It's, who hurt you? Because if this man didn't hurt you, who did? Because there's hurt, because you're reacting to something. And if you're reacting to it and it's not happening right now, what are you reacting to? You're reacting to something that has happened before, because that's how you recognize it, right? Like, how do you know what it is until you know what it is, until you've experienced it? And so it's like you believe that you need to attack something that's not happening right now. Why is that? And so it's who hurt you? And the crazy thing about that is, in our society, like, think about it, ladies. I realize that if somebody said, who hurt you, we take it as being condescending. But I guess I look at this and I ask why. Why is that condescending for someone to ask you who hurt you? Unless you know from their vibe that they don't mean that in any sort of loving way. They mean that in a condescending way, like, get over it. But I'm saying today, sisters, and to the sister in that video, who hurt you? Because if it was not this man, why are you disciplining him? Why are you punishing him? Who hurt you? Who's the real source of your pain? And the thing that I realized, and I've talked about this on the show before, is a lot of us have dealt with so much pain as Black women. And so much pain. And we felt unheard and unprotected. Whether those feelings are accurate, I think we need to have a conversation about that. Because here's the thing about feelings. They are what they are. They're neither right nor wrong. They are, right? They are. It's how you feel. But the question that we need to ask ourselves is, why do I feel like I feel? Because your feelings are personal, right? Your feelings are about you. Always remember that. So if you feel sad, you need to ask yourself, why are you sad? And then you need to ask yourself, well, what will it take to make me happy? Because it's not about what someone externally can do, because no one can externally fix something that's happening on the inside of you, right? These are emotions, energy and motion that we're trying to heal, because we keep moving through these emotions because we're trying to heal them. So we keep moving the energy, right? Because we're trying to heal this energy. And so if we stop for a moment and stop in those emotions, stop in time for a second, the emotions that you felt, what was the source of that pain? Who hurt you? And then I want to rewrite the story. Because if I think about, like, when I was a kid, at least, we had fairy tales, things like that. And I don't know about you guys, but I grew up, wanting to be a princess on some regard. But what's funny about that is I was a tomboy at the same time. So, here I am, a tomboy, but I'm watching these things on television. Let's talk about the programming and tell I vision, right? But anyway, don't get me started. So, watching these things on television, and now this little girl who is climbing trees and, playing in mud and playing with the boys and roughhousing and all of these things, now, because of what I'm seeing, I want to be a princess. Now I want someone to rescue me, to protect me, to all of these things. And think about it. If you know that someone else can save you, why would you keep saving yourself? Right? Like, if you knew that your story was, there's always going to be a prince at the end of my story. Like this, what we grow up believing, that there's always going to be a prince at the end of my story. What if that prince doesn't come? Because for some of us out there, the prince didn't come. And you were disappointed. Because they lied to you and told you that someone outside of you had to save you. Save you. The question you should ask is, save you from what? What are you running from? What are you afraid of? Save you from what? Because needing saving implies that you are in danger. So my question is, what do you believe you're in danger from? Maybe you weren't in danger. Maybe you've been lied to. Maybe you're not actually in danger. Maybe the threat is not real as you see it. You know what I mean? Maybe it's not really happening to you. Maybe you're reacting to something that's already happened. But only you will know that. And so I say to my sisters, if it's not happening in real time, you have to ask yourself, what is happening? What is happening? What is happening is we are actually witnessing a society where the princes didn't come. The story didn't end the way that she thought it would. It didn't work out the way that she thought it would. And now people are upset. But we're upset because we bought into a lie in the first place. But if you realize that you brought into a lie, then you can understand that you can reverse it, right? You can change it because it wasn't true anyway. It wasn't true. So in my mind, if I were writing this story, if I were myself, back when I used to watch, Disney stories and all these things, first of all, I probably wouldn't be in a tower. Because let's keep it real. What black people do you know are hanging out in towers with hair flowing out the window? I mean, let's just, come on. So, first of all, I wouldn't be in a tower. I would be out in the world, experiencing life, smelling flowers, talking to butterflies. Where would I be, right? I would be free, I would be wild and free. If I could rewrite the story, I would be wild and free. So I wouldn't need saving. And if I don't need saving, then my heart is never broken. But here's the thing that I would also do. I would also make sure that I always had someone there, though. Because it does get lonely. It gets lonely. And sisters, you know what I'm talking about. If the prince doesn't come, you do get lonely. I get that. But what if the prince comes along and you guys are friends and, playing with dirt together and, growing up together and experiencing life together and having the same experiences and, what if? What if somewhere in the world, your prince had experienced the same dream that you had? What if he experienced the exact same dream that you had? Where you're wild and free and you're not the only person. And what if? What if all of that were true? How would things be different? How would your existence be different if that were your story? Where you didn't need rescuing because you were never in danger. Because you've always been wild and free. That would, in my mind, that would take away, that would take away any feelings of lack. Because if I'm wild and free and I have everything that I need, because I have my friend, I have my companion, so I'm never alone, and I'm doing what I love, and I'm actually doing what I love, how is that not free? What's free? What's free? What's free? And so, my sisters, who hurt you? And start there and rewrite your own story. Rewrite your own story and tell your story. Because I guarantee you that out in the world somewhere, there is a little girl who's hurting that needs to hear your story. She needs a Disney princess to look up to that's not what she's seen. She needs to know that it's okay that if your prince never comes, because you've always had what you needed anyway, because it's always been inside of you and you have the ability to create what you need. Whatever you need, you can create it. And so imagine that if that were the story, then the sister who was in this video, in my mind, wouldn't be in the video. Because she wouldn't feel threatened. She wouldn't feel attacked. Because she'd recognize things for what they are. And I want to talk about that. Because imagine like a loophole in the story, right? And, you think you want a prince, and so you ask for a prince. But the thing is, what if you've never seen a prince, right? What if you grew up on the wrong side of the tracks and you've never seen a prince? How the hell would you know what a prince looks like, right? How do you know what a prince looks like? You have to experience it. You have to experience it. And so, I say to my sisters, at some point in our experience, a lot of us have thought that we found a prince, and we ignored all of the signs before that told us this isn't your companion. But we force the issue, and then we get what we get when we saw it in the beginning, right? We saw what was going to happen because the flags were there. We just ignored them. And so, what if the story were different? How would that change the outcome? If us as little black girls grew up in a world where our prince didn't have to come because he never left. What if that were the story? That he never left, he was always here. But we started to look outside of ourselves to recognize it. We looked outside of ourselves instead of thinking about, how does this make me feel? How does this make me feel? And examining it within ourselves. I know that I'm talking on and on because I think it's time for us as black women to change the script. Like I said, when I started, I talked about the video of the young woman, and I was saying that the reason I started the show was because I kept seeing the same story play out over and over and over again, where it would be a situation where, woman is overreacting. And I'm telling you because this is what I've seen. I don't know what they're telling you. I know what they're actually, no, I do. I know what they're telling you on television. I'm telling you as a witness, and I'm telling you what I've seen. They're lying to you. It's not true. What I'm seeing is men, black men, who are with black women, who want to be there for their children. And because somebody's gotten in her ear saying she can get more money, she can do this, she can do that. And if she doesn't, she can call the police and get a protective order and have them locked up for assault and rape. And because we believe all women and men, me too. Hear what I'm saying. I'm telling you, even if you've never seen it for yourself, I'm telling you, as a witness to this, as someone who does this every single day for a living, what I see 9 times out of 10 from our community is black men are with black women. Either they're the mothers of their children or their wives or both. I'm seeing our sisters overreacting for things that we've never healed from, because at a time in our childhood, our story got interrupted. Our fairy tale got interrupted, either by rape, by sexual assault, by sexual violence, by physical violence. At some point, we had to wake up from our dream, and our story was interrupted in fear. It erupted in fear. And so now we have those little girls who never healed back then, because therapy was frowned upon for black people. So now you have those little girls who are now grown women with children of their own, and they've never been healed. Think about that. Think about what that looks like. It looks like what you see this woman acting out, right? So think about that while we talk about how to move on. Because my sisters are now recognizing that therapy is good. We need help. We need help. But why do you need help? Because at some point you realize you were broken. Not, again, fractured, broken, however you want to define it. A piece of you was taken from you. A piece of your whole. Let's keep it a buck. Pieces of your whole were taken from you. Either because by force, because some man or some person forced themselves on you and permanently altered your identity, meaning what you identify with. And if your identity is wrapped up in fear, and in that moment, that has been your identity. And I know that because I've been that person. I am you. I am you. And so what I'm saying is these little girls who never got healed are now taking out their pain on their partners. And so when you see a woman that's lashing out on a man just unjustifiably, seemingly unjustifiably, there was a trigger. There was a trigger. And so, sisters, we got to examine what these triggers are, because they're ours. They're ours. It's not this, it's yours. It does not belong to the other person. And so fixing it is not on the other person, it's on you, because it belongs to you. It's part of your experience. So we got to stop putting the pressure on our men to fix us, because that's not their job, sisters. They're here as companions. They're not here to fix you. And you don't need fixing because you're never really broken. Not beyond repair. You may be hurt, but you're never broken beyond repair. Never broken beyond repair. So I say to my sisters, we got to stop punishing our men for for disappointments that may have happened because of this relationship or our fathers or our uncles or whomever. We got to stop punishing our men for that. Because what will happen is we will see this play out, and that little unhealed girl will grow up to be this woman who will call the police on a man who she's assaulting. And this man will be arrested. He will go to jail. He will have to hire a lawyer to defend him on the criminal side. And don't let them have children together or her make other allegations. Because he gotta hire a criminal defense attorney. If they have children together, you may have to hire a family law attorney. He's going to have to spend money to do this while she simultaneously will ask for child support. But in the process, he will lose his job because now his job is found out about the criminal charges. And then she will go to court on the other side and say that he should pay more child support, or he's dodging his child support, or he's a deadbeat dad. You get what I'm saying? The thing that could have changed the whole situation, my sisters, is our decisions. It's your decision. Because if we say that we are autonomous, let's talk about what that means. If we say what we're saying, believe all women. And if I'm believing all women, and most women are saying, I don't need a man. I don't want a man. I can do everything a man can do. I can have babies on my own. I can raise them on my own. I can go to war. I can do this. My question to you then is, if those things are true, you don't need a man, then when we are seeking companionship, we cannot be surprised when it's not there, right? Because if you really have everything that you want, we got to be honest with ourselves. We don't want a companion. We want a whipping boy. Let's keep it a buck, sisters. Let's keep it a buck. You don't want a companion. You want a whipping boy. You want someone you can tell what to do. You want someone that you can put in their place. You want someone you can dominate. You want someone you can control. Let me tell you why that is, what I've recognized for myself. Because somewhere along the line, when my story was interrupted, when my dream was interrupted, I may have been 7 or 8 years old. And my dream became a nightmare when my stepfather forced himself on me. That's when I woke up from my dream and I became adulterated. I no longer had the wild and carefree mind of a child because I became adulterated when I was a child. And so what happens, my sisters, is it causes a mental schism so that you don't understand. Love has now been perverted. Protection has now been perverted. The person that was supposed to protect you and be there for you violated you. Violated you. And if that's what we are experiencing, think about if we are doing this to our men, but we're treating them as our sons, if we're really sonning them, think about it. Then now we are perpetuating the same thing onto our boys. Now what we are doing, because we never healed ourselves, we're living vicariously through them instead of letting them live their own lives. And what I mean by that is this. We were violated and made to grow up at an early age. And so we turn our sons into our protectors. We tell them, you're the man of the house now, when he's like 5, right? Playing with Tonka trucks or whatever the kids do. We've adulterated our sons. And so now when he has to grow up and do things to provide for you and to protect you, you know that those things come at a price. It comes at a price. And that price is the life of your baby. The price is the life of your husband, right? That's the price that we pay for wanting it all. That's the price that we pay for wanting to hold on to this pain, right? And that's what I mean. Let go of the pain. Let go. Let go. If you want to hold on to your love, hold on. Invo, right? Hold on to your love. If you want to hold on to your love, you got to let go of the pain. Because pain has its origins in fear. It has its origins in fear. And so, no matter how you slice it, if you are in pain, my sisters, you got to dig within yourself and ask yourself why. And you got to go back and heal that. Because you cannot know love if you're existing in a place of fear. Because when I tell you that love is the opposite of fear, it's real. It's not hate, it's fear. Because we hate that which we fear that which we hate. We fear that. And so we bring on more of that because it's always in our mind. It's always in our mind. And so it's always attracted to us, right? Lack. But if the story were, like I said, if we wrote this story and I was a princess and, at some point I fell asleep and had to wake up and do my story all over again, how would it change? What would change is I would realize that when someone hurts you, it's a reflection of how they see themselves. Always remember that. If someone is lashing out at you unprovoked, there was no provocation, what are they responding to? They're responding to an energy, right? And what they're responding to is themselves. Because there's something damaged inside of them. So it's not actually about you. But if you see that, you have to remember to deal with what you see accordingly. And so, my brothers, if you are experiencing women who are behaving this way, who are lashing out at you and threatening to call the police on you and threatening to commit suicide and trying to hold you hostage in their pain, let them go. I assure you they may be well-meaning, but they're not in a good place. Let go. You don't want to attach yourself to that. It's bad energy, and it brings bad energy. That bad energy for you is law enforcement and police phone calls, and you know what I mean? Let it go. So sometimes you can't save them. You can't save them. Sometimes you got to let them go. And to my sisters, I say, whoever hurt you, let it go. Don't allow this person to keep you in the tower, to keep you hostage, to make you believe that you have to, lay in a tower with your head, with your hair flowing down so he can come up and rescue you because you're a damsel in distress. What if you're not a damsel in distress? What if you're not in the tower? What if you are wild and free? What if you could be anything you wanted to be? Anything on this earth that you wanted to be, you could be that. What if that were the story? What if you could be anything because you are everything and everything is you? What if that were the story? How different would our lives be? I don't know. I don't know as a collective how different that would be. But I assure you that for me, It's been great. It's a great story. It's a great story because you have control over your own destiny. If you can rewrite the script, that means that you can keep rewriting it, and you can erase it, and you can start again, and you can do what you want because you're wild and free. And so, my sisters, let your hair out. Let your light shine. I was thinking about this, how like, because sex was perverted, it grew up making us be so sexually inhibited, right? Because we, in our minds, because sex became perverted when it was forced upon us when we weren't ready. And that perverted the way that we see it. So some of us, it may have made us overly sexual at a young age. And some of us, it may have made us virginal at a young age, so that, we were too afraid to give to someone else, because the last person, I didn't give it, they took it, right? They took it. So now I have to save it. I got to protect it. But what if you can release that story, release that victim, I need a savior? What if you could release that? How different would you be sexually? How different would you be? Would you be wild and free? And I don't mean like, I'm talking about being safe. I'm not, I'm telling you a story. What if you could be free and sex never became perverted for you? Would you have trusted somebody? Would you have trusted? But you still can. You can still learn to trust people. You can still learn to let go of your pain. And here's the thing, because I believe so much in this dialogue. I know I went deep. I know I did. And I do it on purpose because I am you. I see myself and my sisters. I see myself and my people. And I know what we're experiencing because I too have experienced it. I've experienced the pain and the trauma and the hardship. I've experienced not feeling loved, not feeling appreciated, not, being cheated on. I've experienced it all of it. But the difference for me now is I learned to let go. I learned to let go of the pain so that I can have space. When the prince comes, how do I recognize it? Because now there's space to allow me to feel it. Because I've let go of these feelings of hurt and fear and pain, so that now there is space to fill the hole, right? There's space to fill the hole. And that space is, I'm safe. I can let my hair down because I'm safe. I'm safe. And our men are here to protect us, sisters, because I assure you they never left. The only thing that changed is we couldn't see them. We couldn't see them. And now we can. So when you go out, look at every single man, look at every single brother, and see your reflection. Because he came from you, you came from him. It's the same thing. You are the same. You are the same. And when it's all said and done, we are the same. I am you. I am him. We are us. We are the whole. And so I hope that we can have these conversations that may seem weird. It may seem weird, but why is it weird? It's only weird because we're not used to seeing it. We're not used to seeing love. We're not used to seeing love, and so we look at it as strange. We look at it as odd, because love is what you do. It's what you do. It's the memories you build together. It's what you do. And love is not lashing out at people. Love is not violating people. Love is not attacking people. Love is not taking the innocence of someone's youth. It's not love. It's not love. And I assure you, sisters, you were not loved. You were violated. If it happened to you, brothers, you were not loved. You were violated. You were violated. And I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry. But we got to talk about what love actually looks like. And it does not look like fear. It looks like I am wild and I am free and I can do anything that I want to do because I'm safe. I'm safe because I always have my protection. I love you. I hope that my people can seriously heal our communities because I believe in us so much. I believe this is why I invest my time doing this. I receive nothing from this. I do this. I put myself out to look weird, to look crazy, to seem odd because I believe so much in our power. I believe in who we are. I believe in our communities. I believe in our families. I believe in our love. And I hope that we will start to believe in our love again too. Ashe.